Today I'd like to do a product review of a very tiny EDC flashlight. This is the Fenix E05 R2 Flashlight. It's about the same diameter as a AA battery and about a ½ inch longer than one. I was first introduced through this flashlight through Mr. Monkeyman50, who for about 7 to 8 months was constantly asking me, "Hey, have you tried the Fenix E05? And I always said, no, why would I ever need that? I already have the Fenix LOD. Eventually I broke down and I purchased this for about 20 bucks on Amazon, and guess what? It beat out the LOD for me. So now this is my primary little flashlight that I keep in my pants pocket. The E05 has a Cree XPE LED. It has a very unique lens design on it. It kind of has a honeycomb pattern to it with a little sinkhole in the middle. That's the best way I could describe it, which produces a bright floodlight. It's powered by one AAA battery, and I think it'd be a great flashlight to have either on your keychain or just sitting loose in your pocket. So what I was planning on doing for this review was giving you a brief rundown of the features and the specs, listing off some pros and cons of this flashlight, and then doing some beam comparisons against the Fenix LOD and the Streamlight Stylus Pro. So let's get started on this review of the Fenix E05. The Fenix E05 is very simple in its operation. It has one mode, on, and it does it extremely well at 27 lumens. It uses a twist head operation for turning it on and off, which I've been really liking in my EDC flashlights. I never have to worry about this thing turning on accidentally while it's sitting in my pocket. It has a nice texturized grip to it as well. It's not too abrasive, so it's not going to scratch up your pants pocket. I think it's almost the perfect kind of grip that I'd want to have in a flashlight. It does have some smooth sections here or there to kind of give it a nice stylistic look. The bulb has a lifespan of 100,000 hours, which is more than I'll ever use, and it has a run time for each battery of about 2 hours and 50 minutes. When you purchase this flashlight, you're going to get a key ring and a spare O-ring. It's made from aircraft grade aluminum, and yes, it can do a tail stand, which is my new prerequisite now for EDC flashlights. I really like having that feature. As I mentioned earlier, the Fenix E05 has a very unique lens design to it. I would call it a honeycomb type pattern with a tunnel or a sinkhole that points directly to the LED. This is a lot different than what you would see with both the Streamlight Stylus Pro and the Fenix LOD, which has more of a clear lens to it and a mirrored cone pattern that points directly towards the LED. This is what produces the nice floodlight that you get out of the Fenix E05. It has a very nice light, an even circle of white light without any kind of hot spot in the center. And this makes it great for your most common EDC tasks, such as watching where you're walking at night, reading at the dark, and doing things up at a close range. I was initially a little hesitant on purchasing the Fenix E05 because I was already really happy with the Fenix LOD. After all, it had multiple modes to it. It had a high and low mode, it had a strobe pattern, and then also an SOS pattern, and this only had one mode. Then I got to thinking, how many times have I really needed to use a SOS pattern or a strobe for EDC purposes? 0 times. And I also already have those features in my other flashlight. This is the 4.7's Quark Mini AA². So do I really need those for my little pocket EDC flashlight? Probably not. You know, I just really need it to shine things at night, look where I'm walking, maybe find a keyhole with my keys. And so then when I took that into consideration, that's when the Fenix E05 won out for me. I thought it had a better beam pattern that was more practical for EDC purposes. Let's go over the size and weight of this little EDC flashlight. It has an overall length of 2.53 inches, which is 6.43 centimeters. The diameter is 0.56 inches, which is 1.42 centimeters. Just to give you more of a representation of that, it's about the same diameter, almost identical as a AA battery. And it's only about a ½ inch longer than one. This thing does take AAA batteries, and here's how the AAA battery looks with it. Let's go over the weight of it really quick. So without the batteries, this thing is listed as weighing 0.39 ounces, which is 11.06 grams. So let's test it with the battery in there. So that is 25 grams, or 0.9 ounces. Very light, very small, extremely light. I mean, you're not going to notice that you have this thing with you. The Fenix E05 has IPX8 waterproofing. Let's test that out. As you can see, the Fenix E05 has no problem being submerged in water. It should be able to handle being underwater at about 2 meters for an extended period of time. And I'm pretty confident that it'd last there for as long as I left it there. Looks like he's enjoying it too, huh? What I'd like to do now is a beam comparison between the Fenix E05, the Fenix LOD, and the Streamlight Stylus Pro. So hopefully this should help remove any kind of camera artifacts that you might normally see on when you're checking out flashlights online. So I'm going to do this at various distances, anywhere as low as 4 inches all the way upwards to around 18 inches. So that's going to be above the camera. With the Fenix E05, you should see a nice floodlight that's with an even circle of white light. There's not going to be any kind of hot spot versus what you'll see with some of the other flashlights. So let's get started. To start things off, I'm just going to start off with the Fenix E05. Let's turn the lights off. As you can see, it's a very evenly dispersed light with no hot spot to it. I'm not sure how it looks on the camera to you, but for me, it's very white light. There's no color to it at all. Alright, now let's do a comparison between the Fenix E05 and the Fenix LOD. Here's the LOD. As you can see, it does have a hot spot to it, and then it disperses out from there. And the E05. Now the LOD is on its max setting. Alright, now let's test the Fenix E05 versus the Streamlight Stylus Pro. Now the Streamlight Stylus Pro has 2 AAA batteries to it versus the one that you have in the Fenix E05. The Streamlight Stylus Pro definitely has a hotspot to it. It has a little bit of color to it, although not that much. I think the Fenix E05 has more of a white light to it. So here's around 4 inches. It's about a foot. And around 18 inches. So as you can see, the Fenix E05 just evenly disperses the light versus the Streamlight Stylus Pro, which definitely has a center to it. And then it kind of just evenly disperses after that. What I'd like to do now is take the Fenix E05 and the Streamlight Stylus Pro, and we'll go into another room and we'll shine it up against an off-white wall at a distance of around 10 feet, just to compare the 2 different beam patterns. We'll leave the Fenix LOD out on this test just to help save on time. Alright, I'm around 10 feet away from an off-white wall, and what I'm planning on doing is shining the little Fenix E05 up against that wall, and then also the Streamlight Stylus Pro, and then we'll do a beam comparison between the two, just so you can see the differences between them. Hopefully this will help remove some of the camera artifacts. So let's get started. Let's start off first with the Fenix E05. As you can see, it sends off a real wide beam. It's very floody, so there's not really a center to it. It just gives a really good light to it. When I'm looking at it, it's a very white light as well. There's no real color to it. And now let's do the Streamlight Stylus Pro. As you can see, the Streamlight Stylus Pro really has a definite center to it, and then it kind of disperses out from there. Again, here's the Fenix E05. Streamlight Stylus Pro, and here's both of them together. Yes, you can really see that head on the Streamlight Stylus Pro, and the E05 just kind of spreads out light evenly across the wall. And I would actually say that it's pretty comparable as far as brightness goes, and the Fenix actually kind of spreads out light a little bit more, I think, than the Streamlight does. Alright, I hope that beam comparison helped you. Let's go over the pros and cons of the Fenix E05. The number one pro with it is by far the size of it. It is extremely small. It's going to fit on any kind of keychain in your pocket. As we showed, it's about the same diameter as a AA battery and about a ½ inch longer than one. So you put it on your keychain, put it in your pocket, you're not going to know that you have it there. I really like that it has a common battery, the AAA battery, just a single one that you have on it, versus some other EDC flashlights like the Streamlight Nano, which has a specialized battery, which is a little harder to find. At $20, the price is just about right for any kind of EDC flashlight. That's similar to what you have to pay for the Streamlight Stylus Pro, and that's also what I paid for the Fenix LOD. So I like the price of it as well. I really like having the twist operation of the head to turn it on and off. I never have to worry about this thing turning on accidentally. And by having that twist operation, you also have the ability to do a tail stand. So you could use it as an emergency candle if you need to. I really like having that feature. I want to have that feature on all my EDC flashlights as well. So those are definitely the pros of this flashlight. It's also waterproof. It has a nice texture to it. It's almost a perfect design, I think. Alright, now to the cons of this flashlight. There's not a lot of bad things that you could say about it. I would say the number one con is also the number one pro in that it is very tiny. So if this thing falls out of your pocket, you might lose it. It's black. It easily would fall into your car seat, for example. You might never find it again. But at 20 bucks, it's not going to be that bad of a hit. Another con that I found with it is that it doesn't come with a pocket clip, similar to what you have with the Fenix LOD, for those of you that like having a pocket clip with this little kind of flashlight. But it does come with a little key ring on it, so you could attach it to your keychain. Having the pocket clip also enables this flashlight not to roll off the table accidentally. Versus this, which is perfectly round, you know, it's going to roll if need be. So, but if you put the keychain little ring on there, it's not going to roll like that. It'll stop over there. So those are really the only cons that I could find with this flashlight. That's going to do it for this product review of the Fenix E05. In summary, I think this is an awesome EDC flashlight. I think it's so great, actually, that everyone should really own a Fenix E05 and either have it on your keychain or in your pocket. It's almost a perfect design in my opinion. I love having the twist head operation. You're never going to have to worry about it turning on accidentally. At 20 bucks, the price is right and comparable to other EDC flashlights. If you have any questions regarding this review or comments, please feel free to leave them below, or you can send me a private message as well. And I hope you enjoyed this product review of the Fenix E05 R2 Flashlight. Take care.